Welcome back to Quarantine Makes a Critic, where just because I don't leave my house anymore, I think what I have to say about movies is relevant. Today, I'll be talking about The Hunt, which is a film. First, the plot, taken straight from IMDb. 12 strangers wake up in a clearing. They don't know where they are or how they got there. They don't know they've been chosen, words are hard, for a very specific purpose. The Hunt. So, The Hunt is one of those movies that had the absolute worst timing ever. It was supposed to be released in 2019, not sure which month, but the premiere was delayed and the release of the film was delayed because there were two shooting massacres in Ohio and Texas the month it was supposed to be released. So the release was moved back to March 2020, and then I think you know what happened. Global pandemic. So it was in theaters for about a week, I think, before the US went full lockdown. And as of right now, it's only brought in about half of what it cost to make. So that's pretty bad. Now, going to this movie, you have to understand that it is satire from beginning to end. A satirical movie does not mean it has to be a bad movie. Cough, cough. Not another teen movie. You're bad. So, it being satire just doesn't justify it for not being great. But people hate it because it's poking fun of politics, which is it's political satire. People. The movie pokes fun at both Democrats and Republicans, and basically every character is gonna say something that half of the people watching are gonna hate. It's satire. Just remember, it's satire. That said, I really didn't like any of the characters in this movie either. They're pretty bad. I was pretty indifferent about the main character, Crystal, played by Betty Gilpin. Let's go with Gilpin. She's the level-headed character that doesn't want or need help from anybody, and she wants to survive this hunt by herself, essentially, and take out everyone in her way. She speaks in a monotonous tone, and that sums up her personality pretty well. The only person who grabbed my attention every time they were on screen was Hilary Swank, who plays the main villain, the antagonist, if you will. Unfortunately, she's just not in the movie a lot. She's really not in it until the last 30 minutes. Starting at the beginning of the film. Let's go back to the beginning. The beginning of the film is actually pretty good. The first 20 minutes are surprising. Now, there are definitely some red herrings in terms of casting, if you will. Without any spoilers, there might be some characters, there might be some actors that you think maybe are gonna be in it for longer, aka a red herring. As soon as we found out we were gonna be following Crystal is essentially when I stopped caring. After the 20-minute mark, it's a 40-minute chunk of just boringness. So after that 40-minute chunk, there's a couple scenes of flashbacks, and Hilary Swank is introduced essentially, and those flashbacks were actually really good. They were gripping. They were kind of answering some questions the viewer has. They were explaining some things. The pacing from then on was quick, and the movie got interesting again after 40 minutes of me taking a nap, and it was good. Now, already at the end of the movie, because the end of the movie is the best part, the final fight scene was pretty amazing. It is long. The final fight scene is long, but the music, the cinematography, the editing, the acting performances, it was all great. Now, it's not hard to guess what's going to happen at the end of the movie and at the end of the fight scene, but the orchestra music playing and the subtle, awesome camera shots, a few times, just it looked really nice, it sounded nice, it was good, it was amazing. There was even some good humor thrown in during the fight scene, and that was probably the shining light throughout the entire movie. It was the subtle humor. Some of the jokes weren't great, but sometimes the jokes were really good. And on top of that, you know what movie you're watching when there's an intense death scene and there's just a joke thrown in. Like I said, the movie is not surprising. It's pretty predictable. there is like one thing that's revealed at the end of the movie that like was clearly supposed to be like the big surprise, and you were supposed to be like, oh, no way, but I just didn't care. And it didn't change how I felt about the movie or like the characters or anything. It was just I didn't care. If you can watch this movie understanding its political satire and like allow yourself to laugh at jokes at your political party's expense, then you're probably gonna have an okay time watching it. The gore, it was, I guess it's a thriller horror, so the gore, it needs to be good, and it was good. It was above all right. Like, some scenes were hard to watch. I mean, not really, but like, because you know it's fake. But like, if you didn't know it was fake and you were watching, you'd be like, dang, that's hard to watch. So it was hard to watch. For some people, it will be hard to watch. So there were comparisons to the Hunger Games, which I get, but they're not really valid. If you watch a trailer, you might be like, yeah, this feels like a Hunger Games ripoff, but it's not. The arena and tournament thing going on in the movie is like, it's like not, it's not as relevant as in the Hunger Games. Like, it's different, I swear. Also, some people were saying how it's too political to be enjoyed, which is just not true. It's it's satire. It's satire. If you want to understand why like so many people hate this movie, watch it, but don't expect to be like dazzled. The last 30 minutes kind of made it worth watching, in my opinion. But the tone throughout was kind of a little weird. Like it never like got a clear balance between the humor and like the gore, like the comedy element and the horror element, where it just kind of wish-wash. And it was just like, is this supposed to be more funny than it is gory, or is it supposed to be more gory than it is funny? Because it kind of just felt boring for the most of the movie. But honestly, there was actually a pretty good message. Kind of. There was a good message about not posting bad jokes that could be offensive on like social media, or even like doing that in your texts, let's say. Those are my thoughts. Okay.